Today on the Daniel Baldwin Show, viewer mail and getting old. It ain't always pretty. Coming at you right now. Hey everybody, welcome to the Daniel Baldwin Show. I'm going to turn the purple glass over. Let's get right out with viewer mail. Lou Borlogio of Hampton Bays, New York. That's out in the island near where I was raised. He has this to say, hey DB, what's with the play in Iran / Hormuz? I think you're asking about what do you think the boss is doing, Trump is doing with the blockade. And, it's so funny to listen to different people. And it could be right, left, middle, it doesn't matter. But what they think he's doing, and then the renaming of the Gulf of America. He's such an egomaniac and USA, blah, 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 blah. And what did it turn out to be? Biden signed a deal. He put into law that we couldn't drill in the Gulf of Mexico. And he mistakenly, instead of identifying it longitudinally and latitudinally, he identified it by name as the Gulf of Mexico. So Trump came in and changed it to the Gulf of America, opening up all drilling possibilities because we're not drilling in the Gulf of Mexico. We're drilling in the Gulf of America. And funny that I would use that as an example because I'm freestyling it right now. I'm just telling you an example that came to my mind. Drilling is a big reason why you're seeing this whole thing happening at the Strait of Hormuz. The reason why we're doing it, and everyone thought, we're at a war and we're in trouble right now because America's not responding to it well. And we've used the reason, and I believe this reason is true, that we cannot allow enrichment of uranium that could bring it to nuclear bomb capabilities at the level of the uranium. So they have not adhered to the deals that were made by Biden or Obama or anybody. They were enriching the uranium for sure. Hillary sold them the uranium that they're enriching, and Obama gave them the money to go ahead and develop the processes. So now we've got a president that is not going to, like everyone before him has said, will never let Iran, and this goes all the way back to Bill Clinton and before, we cannot let Iran, a hostile regime, have the capability of lobbing a nuclear weapon on anybody, particularly close to home for them at Israel. So this is the precedence by which he justifies President Trump, what he's doing. And I believe that that's a factor, but take a look at it now. So we send a blockade in, no ships in, no ships out. No one's coming out of there. And you have countries that are not exactly our best friends who depend on that oil. And guess who has more oil than Saudi Arabia, Russia, and all of the Middle East put together? Anybody? Anybody out there? You in the back row. America, America. Yes, sir, you're right. America. We've drilled for more oil in the last year under Donald Trump than Biden did in all 4 years he was president. A lot of people were upset about that. We will drill over twice as much oil, American oil, sweet oil, crude oil, next year than we did in 2026. And so all those boats, a vast majority of them, no Venezuela, no Iran, they're turning around and they're heading towards America. They have to buy our oil, whether they like it or not. The only person that has their cup runneth over with black gold, Texas tea, is America. America has the oil. So let's shut down the pumps over here and invite everyone to come over to our pumps. Oh, now you get the idea of what he's doing? Now you understand the strategy of it. Now do you understand that we're going to have countries that we have been having bidding wars and tariff wars and tax wars and close to war wars with, who are all going to be signing deals. We're closer to their countries for them to send ships to go all the way around and get the oil. And they're going to come here. They're going to come here. They'll come right across the Pacific and they'll go to Alaska where they're close, or they'll come to California and fill all their tankers up. And we'll be happy to oblige them. And they can wire the money ahead of time. Get ready, because that's what's going on. Absolutely stratego Battleship, Risk. Remember all those games? Just money move, smart. We just are on the verge of signing a deal with Saudi Arabia that will bring multiple trillions of dollars from Saudi Arabia to the United States in investment and a variety of different things. Trump is on a roll. Everyone thinks that we're sending ground troops and we're risking American lives. Well, we're not letting these idiots over there who scream and chant in the streets, kill America, kill Americans. Do I think it's over yet? No, I don't. I don't, Lou. I think, we're going to see some retaliation. We're going to see some resistance, but we start knocking out all their power and everything else. The people over there are so miserable with the regime that's in. It's like literally, 1 or 2% of the population that's supporting the old guard and the ones that have a lot of money, and they don't want the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow to be taken away from them while they persecute and kill, line people up in the streets and mow them down with guns. It's awful. And the young, the new blood over there, they want to continue to send, their kids here to school, and they want to do commerce, and they want to have a relationship, and they want a free society. They come to America, and many of them don't leave because they can't believe that it's actually like this. And it could be like this over there. I don't think that we need to say that we're going to change people's religious beliefs or whatever. They're going to believe what they believe over there. As long as what they believe doesn't include let's kill America, then let's go. Let's see how we can live together and work with each other. And I'm looking forward to it. But the play was a global, just outsmarted everybody. No one saw it coming right away. I did. I made a couple of comments about it, about, you haven't seen what he's really doing yet. You haven't seen what it really means in Venezuela, why he did what he did. And you haven't seen what he's doing up in Greenland. And America wants to forcefully take Greenland from these little Inuit people and, in Northern European peaceful countries. It was about applying pressure to get things done the right way to keep us safe and landlocked. Canada will come around. Mexico, they're pretty dependent on our dollars. If we could clean up the border, which he's shut it down and done pretty good with, I think you're going to see investment and you're going to see growth. It's going to be like the Industrial Revolution here. Things are just going to boom. Taxes are going to be reduced, and we're going to charge tariffs, particularly the people that we don't like very much. Why? If you don't want to support us in NATO and you don't want to help us do stuff with somebody who has nuclear weapons. Think of the irony of this for a minute, Lou. Think about this for a second. We're flying around and we have troops and we have planes, we have ships and stuff to protect you because you're a member of this group, this pact of countries that are friends and helping each other, right? You don't pay us anything for it, and we are the big bad wolf that protects you for sure. Now we're involved in a confrontation where you're much closer to where these people who might have nuclear capabilities would lob a missile over at you or do something terrible to you or to somebody who's a good friend of yours. Hint, 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 Israel. So, but you don't want to help us. You don't want to send anybody over. You don't want to send any air support. You want to spend any money, but you want us to protect you. So when he threatens to pull out of NATO or whatever, it's because he knows they can't even NATO's worthless without the United States. Worthless. England cannot protect all those people. England depends on us to protect them, for sure. And rightfully so. We've had great relations where a lot of the country was founded and started from English immigrants coming over here. For sure, the mother country, and we love England. But don't mess around with us now when we call on you. It was a great scene in The Godfather where Enzo, I think it was Enzo. No, was Enzo the guy? Enzo was the guy who showed up with the flowers. It's a very opening scene when he wants him to. He asks him for justice for his daughter who was attacked by these men, and he said, it's taken care of. One day I may call on you for a service, and that's the way it should be. You should be able to go to your allies and your friends. Maybe you won't ever call on them, and you'll do them a favor. You did them a favor, out of respect for each other, to know you had this person in a position where if you needed them. And later on, of course, Sonny in The Godfather is killed, and he calls on this mortician to help him patch Sonny up so that he can have a decent funeral, and his mother can see his face because they shot him in the face. He was a mess. Anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is that if you want our protection, you want to be our friend, you can't just be a fair weather friend. You can't just show up when you think it's okay or when you don't have anything to risk. Not when we risk it all. Our men and women that serve this country spend more time protecting other people than they do us. They do. They're out there all over the globe, these guys and these girls, on ships, on the ground, in stations, on ready alert. Something happens, they're off, and they're off to protect Turkey, and they're off to protect Spain, and they're off to, and these people, they don't want to help us. Then maybe we won't help you. Maybe we should pull our troops out. If it wasn't so strategic to have a presence in some of these places, airfields and so on, but maybe we'll sleep in on Sunday, and give you a taste of what that would be like. So it's kind of crazy. But anyway, I think the most important thing is don't judge right away on someone's actions. Take a minute, let's watch what's going on, because there's such a hard-on to get this guy. There's such a hard-on to get the president. There's such a hard-on to tag the administration. There's so many games being played between Democrats on the left and Republicans on the right, and smearing and just bashing because they've got to. He's doing so well, and it's about to blow up and become so great that there's really nothing that they can do to stop him now. Nothing. Except this nonsense about trying to impeach him for this and war crimes and all. They throw everything they can at this guy every day. It's crazy. And to watch them progress, pretty soon we will be the superpower of the world again. We will. We weren't. We had slipped. We had absolutely slipped from the number one seat. And everyone then wants to push the guy on the top off. We're pretty much there now. We're pretty much there now. Everyone watches what we do. Everyone follows suit. And outside of this country, almost everybody praises Trump. Almost everybody says, even the countries that we've pulled their leaders out of or that we're currently in a war with, the people, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, America. Because the regimes that were in there, you don't realize, and they won't televise this, murder people left and right. People just vanish. Fathers of families, their husbands and their father gone. Just kill them or throw them in prison, they never see them again. All the time. By the thousands. So it's coming, man. Lou, thank you so much for your question, and thank you so much for watching the show. I appreciate you. So I wanted to do the show today. Oh, by the way, if you can like the show and subscribe to the show, share the show with other people. So people who, even if you're not somebody who's going to watch the show, like I get a lot of people that are Democrats that watch the show. They watch it just to send me hateful, terrible stuff for, it's awful, the things that they say. But that's okay. Watch the show. Maybe you'll learn something. Maybe you'll send a question in that'll get on the show. Usually I like to take general questions and then get to expand on what I think about it. And remember, these are just my opinions and stuff. Sometimes it's based on factual material that I have access to that you may not. Other times it's, if you just did your homework and looked, you could tell which side or who it is that's full of crap and who it is that's telling you the truth, because I'll back it up with facts. So with that said, getting old, and I'm 65 years old, and I have to tell you something. No, I cannot do the same things I used to be able to do, for sure. That's difficult. I'm going to give you a story. I was at the basketball court. We have one of those in the development that I live in. Sorry, I needed some juice. In the development that I live in, there's like a pool, tennis courts, a basketball court, and like a jungle gym kind of thing for the kids to go, for everybody that lives in this community. And so I, from time to time, go down there with my wife and my son, and they run around. And this time I went down and I saw 3 kids. And they were shooting around. It had been 2. And I looked over. I don't know what possessed me, because I have such a bad time trying to use my arm right now. I'll go into that on another show. But the doctor recently told me, he said, look, I want you to get out there. I want you to try to do stuff like swinging a golf club or swinging a tennis racket would be really good for you, just to try to get, that arm moving better. So I looked at my wife. I said, I'm going to see if I can play with those guys. And they were 14. So I went out there and I said, you guys want to play two men? And they were like, they looked at each other first and they looked at me like, who's this silver fox that thinks he's going to play with us at 14? We're going to run right by this old man. And as I would watch this kid, for some reason, there was one pretty tall kid. I thought I'd get him. And the kid on my team said, you and me, and he walked over and guarded. So I got the little fast kid, really fast. So I check it to him, and they don't play, you have to pass it in. They play, you can go straight up or take off to the hole. And he shoots a pretty long three-pointer, like longer than college, maybe not quite NBA. And he sticks it. And he says, face, in your face, he told me. I looked at him and I thought, and he was a little guy. And I said, 5'5". And I said, did this kid just say in your face to me? Like, it didn't sting bad because it was 2-on-2 little kids and I wasn't in front of a bunch of my friends or anything back in the day. But so I kind of squared up a little bit more. And when I saw him, he passed it and then he quickly got the ball right back. And I took a step back when he passed it to try to help with the bigger kid. The kid I wanted to guard was much bigger than the kid that was on my team. And I looked back and he dished it right back out to the top of the key and the kid goes, in your face. And he says face as he lets it go and he hits it again. I looked at this kid and now that instinct in me, I got mad. Not like I was gonna fight him or something, but I got mad. And so I walked out and I kind of squared up on my toes, like with my hands out, like I'm gonna guard this kid now. And he digged and took off and went, and then he started to go to the corner and I came out like at him hard. And so he just about lets the ball go and I clobbered him. Not like I tried to swing at him or anything, but my body, I couldn't really, I don't have that kind of control over my body. So when I jumped up running at him, I just glided, 4 more feet and hit him and he went down. And he looked at me and he goes, man, what the hell is wrong with you, man? And I looked at him and I said, hey man, sorry about that, bro. You can't foul out of a pickup game. Like you're gonna start talking smack to me. I might have to come out here and get a piece of you, and then you're gonna find out what happens when 6'1", 250 pounds collides with 5'6", 125 pounds. But I really wasn't going to get at him that bad. The point that I'm trying to make about telling the story is when that competitive urge hit me, I could tell things just instinctually what he was going to do, but I couldn't react fast enough. Even though I went, he's going right. And then my body couldn't move like it did even 15 years ago when I was, 50. And I could still hoop with talented basketball players. Not that I was the best player on the court or any of that stuff, so don't write me all this crap, those people who know me and play basketball with me. But I could respond better. The next part, just like going to my daughter's high school to the wrestling room, same thing happened then. I went in, I wrestled, the heavyweight looked at me and said, are you really gonna wrestle us? And I went, yeah. And he kind of smirked a little bit. I looked at him and I said, you won't score 1 point on me if I don't want you to. You know that, don't you? And he went, and of course, I took him down, let him up, took him down, let him up, and I just humiliated him for about 10 minutes. I didn't want to get on the mat with him because he was, big kid, big, strong kid. But I was so much faster than him at 64. So both of these things led to the next morning after I played basketball and I dialed it up a little bit when I wrestled this kid who was clearly bigger and stronger than me, much younger. I could not get out of my bed. I was in so much pain. My arms, my neck, my back, my leg, everything hurt. My wife, who's tiny, had to help me out of the bed and turn the hot water on. I had to stand there and start to try to stand up straight again. The recovery time for me, even if I was to go golf, for my back and my body. And I think part of that too is I've been injured and I haven't been getting out there. So I put a little weight on and I have to really address that now because there's other options. Golfing shouldn't hurt me that much that I can't do it. I want to teach my son, I want to teach him to play baseball. I want to play basketball with him. Now my son's only going to be 3 in June. So when you do the math, in 10 years, he'll be 13. I'll be 75. Do most 75-year-old men can they hoop with their 13-year-old sons? Well, I just found out at 65 what happens when I hoop with the 13, 14-year-old kids. I was present on the court and everything, but it was very difficult for me. So I'm kind of reinvigorated now after that episode on the basketball court that I need to take care of certain things. I need to get, my neck fixed and my shoulder fixed and probably my lower back. I mean, I literally have, due to a situation that happened to me where I was injured, I'll word it that way. I have multiple things I need to fix. I need to also lose some weight. So, I mean, I want to live to see my son in his 30s. And at the rate now, as I'm getting older, and I don't know about a lot of you guys that are watching us and what your ages are, but I would imagine demographically, I probably draw guys that are 40 and up, probably 50, 55, guys that are like myself, It's actually not as bad and not as hard as you might think. I'm going to explain why. It's what you don't do, what you can stop doing more than what you have to do. When I go to the gym, or when I back just a few years when I was going to the gym more often, I didn't have to lift the heavy weight. I wasn't trying to throw a lot of muscle on. I was trying to, I would rather do 30 or 40 pound curls in sets of 50 or 100 and just go until even 40 pounds, 30 pounds, when I got to 80 was hard. And then I got to 90 and it was burning. That's a better workout for me now than putting 150 on there and trying to do, a set of 8. And I'm building these bigger muscles and trying to, my legs are tiny compared to what they were when I was, even in my 40s, my legs were still really big and really muscular. And they're not now because I don't play the sports like I used to. Getting old is very challenging for somebody who has an ego. And I definitely have that ego athletically. I do. I have to go play in a pickleball event for my mom's breast cancer research fund. It's on Long Island. There'll be pro pickleballers, and I don't imagine that I'm going to go out there and, like the old days and really whack a tennis ball or whatever. I don't know anything about pickleball, nothing. I know the scoring is different. I probably have to watch a YouTube video. I'm going to go pick up a racket and hit against, a solid wall so I can get the feel of how hard you hit it and can you spin it? What do you have to do? I know there's a lot of little net play where they just dink it over the net, and I have to learn about that and how to score it and the whole bit. I don't know anything about it, but I have to play. Now, here's where the ego part comes in. I have to hit. I think people are going to want to see of my brothers. Billy and I work together with my sister Jane on the downstate on Long Island in Stony Brook, the Daniel Baldwin Breast Cancer Research Fund on Long Island at Stony Brook University. And so I'm going to play Billy for sure, or maybe we'll just hit, or we'll have some kind of a match or whatever it is. I have to beat Billy. I have to beat Billy. You don't understand. He's my younger brother. He's a good athlete. I would say that I've been more successful in other sports. He was a very good wrestler, wrestled in high school and college. But other than that, I could usually get over on him in, basketball or baseball or softball or the games that we would play, golf. I can't lose to my brother Billy. I mean, if I have to go out there and I can't get out of bed the next day, that's fine, as long as I beat him in front of a live crowd. And I say that, how stupid that is at my age. And I mean it, like I'm going to go get a racket and study it, figure it out. I understand he plays, and I understand my brother Steven plays. I've never played it once, so I have no idea what to do, but I'm going to tell you that I'm going to come back on the show. I'm going to tell you how I beat Billy. That is that important. I wanted to do just a brief show on getting older. There's so many good things that come from it, the wisdom and the knowledge. I have a son, Bat, who I named William Bat Baldwin after Bat Masterson, and William after my brother Billy. But Bat's going to be 3 in June. And, they talk about, it'll make you younger, having a son, at your age. And it does in some ways. It does. I see things in him that bring such joy and such wonderment to my life. I watch my wife, who's much younger than me. I watch her experience some of these things for the first time, and it brings me great joy to see the love in her eyes as she sees my son run up and dive on her and hug her and hold her. And it's one of those, inside you can feel the tears welling up, but you don't necessarily let them go. And I watch her take that love in, take that love from that boy in. It's amazing. But I don't worry about stuff like I did when I was a father before. And I was never as good a father as I am now. I feel I've had an opportunity to do it again as a much older man. I think that there were circumstances in my life that held me back from being the best father I could have been, and I could have been a better father to my other children. I've been a pretty good dad to my 2 girls that are with us now. But that's the first time from ground zero all the way up that I've been able to be with the right woman and to work as a team. Being with Deasia has been a big factor, probably the missing factor, that and my sobriety, to help me be a better dad. So it's exciting, but I don't sweat the stuff, even when he falls or dives or does stuff, she says, "Oh, no, bad." My wife will jump up and yell, and I'll go, "He's fine." When he starts standing up on high pieces of furniture and he's going to jump, and, when he starts doing, like the other day, Deasia said, "I love this bed for Bat." She wanted to buy him this bed. She's looking at it now. And it's a bunk bed, or at least it has a station underneath, and it goes up a ladder, and it's up high. And I went, I don't have the best feeling for him on this bed. He's that kind of kid that's going to climb up the refrigerator and figure out a way to jump off it, or he would be off the balcony in the pool. Now, again, he's only 3. I don't know how long it'll take him before he develops that high of a jump, but he's already jumping off, the upper part of the couch and stuff, and he's not even 3 yet. So I said to her, "You're asking for trouble." I know when we were kids, me and Alec and Billy, me and Billy especially, or Steven, would have dove off the top bunk into a pile or out a window in the house on the 2nd floor into the giant thing of leaves. We did all kinds of stuff like that. There was no fear of that. There was a house being built across the street, and when they ripped down the old house and they built the shell of the house, we were off the roof onto the sand pile and the dirt pile that they put up there. And there was no limitations to what we would have done. Kicking panes of glass open with no shoes on, and just stupid, crazy kid stuff. I think he's got that Baldwin gene. He's a little daredevil. He likes to go fast. He likes to run in and smash things. He runs at me back when I taught him boom boom, which is boom boom, and I'm teaching him how to throw punches and box. And he goes boom, 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 and then he puts his head and runs and just slams his head into my side or my stomach or whatever he's doing. He leads with his head, so he's like a catapult. So I don't know if the high bed is really the best move, but when mommy makes a decision that she wants something, it's probably really just best to be quiet and do what mommy wants. That keeps mommy happy. Mommy keeps me happy, and the world keeps spinning around, my friends. Getting old in other ways in my career has been difficult for me. It has, because I was the young lieutenant, the young dashing, good shape. I was the guy that killed the bad guy. I was the detective. I was the Army guy. I was the Navy SEAL. I was the only man that could fly that plane, blah, 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 blah. And you can tell, of course, where you're going and how you look on camera by what rank you play in those movies. So after doing 10, 20, tough cop, tough action, then it got into, he was now the major who was going back, or the captain that was going back to flight school, Top Gun stuff. and I'm going to take the young kids and teach them, and suddenly I have to go into the fray. And now I'm 40 years old, but I'm still jumping out of the Jeep with the machine gun, joining the boys and girls to show them how it's done and how we did it in the old school and blah. Then I went through at 50 the realization of that I'm the colonel, that I may be driving, into the situation, and every once in a while I got caught in the fray, and I told them how we did it behind that. I came up with the plan, or I was shot and I had to lay there and I had to give them the scenario back when we were in, Beirut, or whatever. And now I'm the general. I'm 65. I'm in some command center saying, I don't care what happens, Tommy. I want them in a body bag by 0800 hours. Do you read me, son? I'm that guy now. So it's hard. It's hard to see that, because there's some things I can still do. I don't get an opportunity because of my age to do them. There aren't as many roles. When the guy goes out who's the young lieutenant or who's the dashing captain major, he's got a squad of guys with him. So, I used to be able to be any of those first three guys in a movie, depending upon, how big a budget it was. If it was a big budget film, they got some big star that was a bigger name than me. But I played the third guy down. There was the major, Tom Cruise, this guy, and then me, or another guy and then me. I was the fourth guy then if it was a really big film, which I'm happy to admit. On the ones where there were big names in it, I had my 4 scenes and that was it. But that's okay. That was cool with me. I got plenty of leads in middle to lower films, but I don't get those. Now. Why? Because of my age. Because of the physical demands. It's a lot harder to accept the fact that you're just not as in demand as before. That's a hard thing. It's a hard pill to swallow. So my answer back to my friends that are watching right now that might be going through a similar era in their life, they're 55, 65, 70s, is to give something. I promise you that giving your time, my wife and I were just talking today about, we were talking about going to different places and visiting at the elderly. My wife, really has a spot in her heart for elderly people with dementia or whatever, but the elderly people. And I said, gosh, I used to always do stuff for the kids. And going to a unit in the hospital where the kids are in trouble, health-wise, and bringing a little gift or bringing a book and reading to them, or making friends with a kid. Now, I don't know whether that kid's in a cancer center and isn't going to make it, or they have a fighting chance or whatever it is. But I promise the fulfillment that you get out of going there and telling another human being that they matter to you, you can't buy that feeling. Now, sometimes it can be very sad. I've gone, before, and the kid didn't make it. I'd be lying to say it didn't affect me. It did, but I knew that what I gave them was something that they didn't have and that they needed, that bridged the journey for them while they were still here. So, but with elderly people just don't come see them. They have each other depending upon how mobile they are in the facility type that they're in. But you just go in and literally you could just walk in and knock on a door and say, hey, Tom, hey, Tom, how you doing? I'm Daniel Baldwin. I was in the area and I thought I'd come in and just say, hey, you want to talk? Oh my God. Yeah, come on in. Sometimes if they're in their 80s or whatever, they know of my family or whatever, or sometimes they have no idea who you are. They think you work there. Sometimes they think you're their kid. So it doesn't matter. It's that quality of life for an hour. And sometimes too, it's not about what you tell them. It's about just listening. It's about them sitting in a bed most of the day, most weeks, with no one from their family able to come, or that, after a while they just don't come as often. They cruise by on a Sunday and you blow in on a Wednesday once a month, 12 times a year. You cannot imagine what joy and fulfillment that brings to an older man or woman who just wants to have somebody for company. Yeah. Well, I'm going to go jump in the hot tub. Man, I'm fighting this whole thing right now, this injury that I have. And I feel old today, so I thought I would do the show. And what a bummer it is to get old. It sucks. It really does. I still mentally have the vitality to go, surfing and water skiing and, things I did. I think I could still do them. The next day I'm such a basket case. So I'm gonna make this, so I weighed in this morning at 255 pounds, 255. I'm gonna make this attempt. I'd like to get down to like 220, between 220 and 225. So that means I have to lose 30 pounds at least. And I'm really going to try. And the other thing too is my A1C. I'm a type 2 diabetic, and my A1C has been off the charts, like over 11. It's been bad. So I'm going to try to knock both those things down, because I got to tell you, the most inspiring thing for me to do it is when I look at my wife, who's significantly younger than me, but she's in such good shape and she's so good looking that sometimes I really do. I look and I go, what does she see in me? We're best friends, but that can't be pretty for her. So I'm going to dedicate myself to doing it, because I'd like to do it to be healthier. I'd like to do it for her. And I'd like to do it to guarantee I'm going to be around a long time to watch my son grow up. So listen, like the show, subscribe to the show, share the show if you can. That would be great. Heavenly Father, thank you for your guidance and your protection that you give all of us, Lord. We love you so much, and we praise you, God. We love Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. And Jesus, if you are listening right now, which I know you are, I would ask you, please give that same protection and that same blanket of love and faith to everyone that watches this show, to all our enlisted men and women who are out there keeping us safe around the world, in this confrontation in particular in Iran. All the servicemen here in the United States that have served in past wars and past duty, we thank them so much, Lord. Give them that beautiful experience of knowing you in their life. In your name we pray, amen. So, I like to end on a prayer. We'll always end on a prayer. Praise God. So I'm going to check out. I've got a hot tub to get into. I got work to do. Stay healthy. Get it right. And I'll see you on the next show.